How we doing, guys? Welcome to today's video. I know it's been a little while since I last posted a video, so today I had some free time. Thought I'd hurry and put together a video for you, so stay tuned. So I know I've kind of dropped the ball, and I wanted to stay up on all the videos, at least doing like one video a week. With work and stuff, I've been a little busy, so now I've got some free time, and I thought I would maybe get back to doing some videos. Today's video is going to be a subscriber requested video, headlights. So I know a lot of you guys are trying to look at ways to update your headlights, look at something better than just this glass dinosaur here. So real quick, I thought I'd show you guys how to just remove the headlights. If some of you guys have not done this before, it's relatively easy. There's about 4 screws that'll take the main black fascia covering around the headlight itself. Be careful with those screws. They're self-tappers, so remove them carefully. I've had to change them out to go something a little bit bigger. Once you get the black fascia piece off around the headlight, you're going to have 4 more screws, 2 top, 2 bottom. It's going to hold in a metal frame that goes around the light. Now be careful with that as well, because they're just small little self-tapping screws. Once you pull that metal frame off, then the headlight's free and you can pull it out. Now, as you're starting to take the headlight out, again, be careful. There's a connector on the back that plugs just onto the factory light bulb piece. Okay, and this is what you should be left with. So you'll have 4 screws for this, 4 screws for this frame piece. That's what goes around the light. Be careful when you get these pieces out, because if you're not holding this, the light will fall forward and you could potentially break the light. So be careful when you're doing that. It's kind of a multi-handed operation. Just pull those 2 screws out, kind of let the front drop down. Again, be careful. This is super fragile. It's really thin, just like aluminum. So those little tabs on the top and bottom, those can get bent really easily. So just be careful with that. And then I'll show you kind of the differences here. You've got projector on this side, regular halogen bulb inside here. You can see again, you can't replace this piece. If this light goes out, you got to replace the whole entire thing. This is also glass. However, the back housing is, I believe, like a fiberglass. So this is more like a plasticky fiberglass. It's a little thinner, but it works. Now, some of you guys might have ordered a housing that looks similar to this, but it's not the same thing. It's kind of deceiving. I share this with you firsthand experience, because I bought these headlights thinking they were going to be projectors. They look like projectors. They have the same kind of glass piece that's kind of shaped like the eyepiece. So you'd think it would give you a good crisp beam like this picture, but they don't. Okay, so just be careful with that. They look fine. If you're just looking to just upgrade the look on it, they work great. You got to understand though, the projector piece that's inside that light does not work. It doesn't project the way you would think it would. Whereas this, you have to have an actual projector inside the housing, and that's where you get that good crisp line from the light, and then you can put the HID in there if that's what you want to go with. Again, speaking from experience, if that's what you're looking for, do not order these lights, because you're not going to get that. You're going to be very disappointed. However, if you do order the lights, those ones are actually the way to go if you're going to do this. That's exactly what this housing is. It was the ones with the little projector piece inside of it, the little magnifying projector piece. And you end up just cutting those pieces out and you just throw them in the garbage. You don't keep those. Now, on to the build process. Be careful when you're doing this. I have not been able to find a housing that this is not glass. Okay, I can't find one. I know they're out there, they're hard to find, but all the ones that I could find were glass. Now with these actual projectors, when you buy them, you're supposed to do it this way. You're supposed to cut the plastic, you put them in the oven, then you cut the plastic out, you cut the sealant stuff out, and then the pieces separate. Be super, super careful. I broke 3 or 4 of these trying to separate them. And there's another one right here. Actually, these glass pieces, they don't match. On my Supra, the lines, they're these horizontal lines, they actually don't match. These ones are a little bit thicker than the ones that are on there, so I'm going to switch them out so they all match. But anyways, when you're cutting these out, be super careful. What I did was I used a heat gun, and I laid it down just like this, and I ran a heat gun around this edge right here. I took a blade, like a flat blade, razor blade, like an X-Acto blade or a utility knife, and I went in at an angle down like this, and I ran the blade inside the glass, and I made sure I was all the way through cutting out the silicone that's inside there, and I just kept working my way all the way around until I was sure enough that it was all the way cut. learn from my experience, do not put a flat blade screwdriver in there and try to twist it or try to pry it. You're going to break the glass. Trust me, I've done it. I broke, like I said, like 3 or 4 of them. And when they break, they just kind of explode. So you got to be really careful. But yeah, cut as much of that silicone out as you can. Carefully kind of work it apart with your fingers. If you need more heat, use more heat. You're not going to damage any of this. This will take a lot of heat without it warping. And then again, you're not going to ruin the glass because it's glass. So get that all the way cut apart. Then it should separate. Take your time. Take your time with it because you're going to break these things. They're very fragile. If they start to twist at all, they're going to break. So once that's separated, obviously you can see mine are back together now. I'm not going to cut these apart just for the video. I will eventually do this one. I'm not in any hurry to do it right now. I'll get to it later. But once they're separated, you will have that little projector piece that's inside there. I believe it's like screwed in, or it's got like little rivets or whatever holding that makeshift projector in there. Just break those out and throw that in the garbage. You don't need that. I'd measure the base of the projector, go in the back side here, and cut out small increments at a time. So cut it down until this piece starts to slide through, and then you're clear up front. How I did it is this cover that's around the projector, you can see it's got like these little lines inside here. That piece, I believe it screws on. I put that piece on until that butt up against the back side of that, the black piece that's inside the housing. I put that in far enough, I kept cutting the back of it far enough out to where this just kind of like landed in place. It fit perfect. Like once I put it in place, it didn't have any movement back and forth. It actually sit pretty flush inside there. I mean, it looks pretty even. I mean, it looks pretty dang good. It's a big housing. I mean, or it's a big projector. So you're almost to the glass there. You can see I think this one is a 5-inch. So it's a 5-inch projector. I will look up the ones that I ordered specifically, like these exact ones right here, and I'll put it in the description so you know that they're going to fit. These, I believe they classify them as low profile projectors or some sort of low something, mini, I can't remember what it is, but again, it'll be in the description. So it's going to be a smaller projector than what you would traditionally put in like just a normal car with a bigger housing. And so make sure you get the small enough one. You don't have a lot of room to work with. These are 5 by 7 lights. These lights fit in a lot of different cars. They fit in Jeeps. They fit in older trucks that use the same size housing. Now you cut the sealant stuff out, and then the pieces separate. You put this in through the front. It comes through the back. Then there's a nut that goes on the back of this that locks down onto the back of the projector, and it holds it onto the back of like a normal traditional housing. Also on this, it's kind of a rough measurement, but you can see it's coming through the back of the housing, and the back of the light is maybe about 1 3/4 inches from the bottom of this. So from here to up here is about 1 3/4 inches out of the housing. So hopefully you guys can use that as a reference. Don't take my word for it. I mean, because I could be a little off. Just measuring and stuff, it could be a little different than what you need. It looks like it's almost 2 inches, but if you look close enough, the bottom of this right here is about 1 3/4 inches. So I would say just kind of play it by ear, get it pretty close, and you should be fine. All right, and then once you get it all done, you get that guy all glued in there. Like I said, I just used the 2-part JB weld, the 2 little tubes, you mix them together. And then make sure the surface is nice and clean when you go around this. I actually sanded the surface up a little bit around this. I think I used just like a Dremel tool. It's been a while since I've done this, but I used a Dremel tool, cut this out. I just, like I said, took pieces at a time until this thing fit pretty snug. Once it was in there, I made sure it was pretty much centered side to side, like it wasn't spun around. And I made sure it was pretty even. Again, there's a hole right here. I want to say I drilled that out because you've got to have these wires come through. But you just drill a small little hole. For those, you could probably run something a little bit smaller, but it's up to you on how you want those to fit. Put some JB weld on there. I kind of glooped it on there just so I didn't have to worry about it breaking loose. Again, these have been on here for probably 2 years, I think, and I haven't had any issues. If there's something better out there, go for it. I mean, but I haven't had any issues. So then once you get it all back together, or you get it all glued in there, got it all everywhere you want it, need it, whatever, I used black RTV to reseal this. Now you've got a little lip that goes inside here. You can fill this in with JD Weld on obviously the other side. And then the glass has a little lip as well. I don't know if you're going to see it, but right there you can kind of see a kind of a raised edge. That plugs into the housing here. So just fill that in with that RTV. I went with the black so you couldn't really see it. And you can kind of see some of it just down there. Now remember, this piece, it doesn't need to be pretty because this piece kind of goes over the top of it. So it fits over the top of it and it covers most of that up. So it ends up looking pretty clean. So don't worry about if it doesn't look great. I mean, you can see right here on some of the edges, it's like kind of chipped up and stuff. You're not going to see that. Just make sure it's sealed so you don't get water in there. But like I said, I went with the black back housing, like the black behind there. You can get ones that are silver. I just thought the black looked a lot cooler, so I went with that. So you got to drill this hole. These are the wires that come through. This is for your high and low beam. I don't have a high beam, so they just kind of sit inside the housing. What you're looking for is this guy right here, H4 HID. So you can see it's pretty small. It's not going to fit a traditional size light bulb like your regular halogen bulb. Actually has like a little keyway inside of there for the bulb to slide in, and then it's got like a little wire retaining pin. This guy right here that holds in, that kind of like clicks over, and that's what holds the bulb in place. All right, the HIDs I got were a brand called Zentech. I went with the ones that had the best reviews, didn't have a lot of returns, that sort of thing. People don't have a ton of issues with them. This is what the bulb looks like here. So it's pretty small, and you can see it's going to fit in one way. So it's got a little notch cut in it in the bottom there to fit that little blue piece right there. So it's only going to go in one way. The other thing I realized with this is, even though it says it fits an HID, I had to actually go in and I had to cut this down. I had to cut this piece down here, and I had to cut this piece down on this side right here. So when you drop it into the light, it sits inside these two little fingers here and here. You can see the whole piece is round and it won't fit between this and this. Those are the retaining clips for this guy right here. So when it drops in there, then this thing clicks over. This, I cut those down just so I know they would fit inside this piece here. Now the Zentech HIDs, they were a plug and play. They just had the adapter harness that just plugs right into the factory wiring, so you don't have to do anything with that. I think I went in and changed it out because the plugs that are like 35 years old on this car were like melted just from the heat from the halogen and stuff. So I think I went in and replaced those. It would be just the piece that replaces, that plugs onto this. There's no like click on, it just kind of sets on there, and then it's got just the three different little pins. All right, so. Might be kind of hard to see, but there's the ballast box right there. I have it just kind of mounted to this piece of metal right here, and it's flimsy right now. I had to undo it just to take the bulb out, but everything on this is all waterproof, which is kind of cool. So these connectors all have like little rubber gaskets inside there, and again, it's just a plug and play. And I believe, or that's what I ended up doing. Okay, so it usually is plug and play, but what I did is actually just ended up cutting. So that's what the factory plug looks like, and you can see it's all bombed out. I didn't replace it. What I did is I just cut the wires off, the ones that I knew I needed, the power and ground. There they are right there. And then I just put in these connectors here, the quick release connectors. You can just get those like at AutoZone. And then those just run into the ballast box there. And then it has its own plug right inside there. That just plugs in. And then that piece comes off here. And that's what goes to your bulb. So pretty easy. And then this is what the housing looks like. So once you get that light out, you got a pretty decent sized hole here. You don't need to do anything with that. It fits just fine inside here. I was worried it was going to hit the piece of metal back here, the back of that light or the projector that came all the way through. I was afraid it was going to hit that. It doesn't. It clears it just fine. Make sure you don't go too far though, because you could potentially run into this, but the way that it kind of moves up and down, you should be fine. You'll know right away if it's too far out because you're going to hit that. If that's the case, you're pretty much screwed because you just cut your light out. So just like I said, increments, small increments at a time. Don't cut too much out because then you might be hosed. You might have to buy another set of those housings. And I guess real quick, I'll tell you. So on this plug here, the wire, if you're going to do this and you don't want to use this guy, I left it on here just because I want it as a reference. When I'm done with it, I'll cut everything off. I'll just throw this plug in the garbage. But the one you're going to use, so your power, the red, is going to be your red and white wire. The ground is going to be your red and blue. So there should be a little blue line. And then obviously you have another one here that's red with a black line. Now, real quick for high beams. So right now, when I click my high beams on, my lights just turn off. So be careful with that. Be ready for that. Be prepared. I clicked on the high beams expecting it to be a lot brighter, and they just turned off. I don't have them run. I'm not using the high beams right now. There are kits out there, adapter like harnesses, that hook into these and then go into the other wiring. I'll put the description in that, or the link for that as well in the bottom. But you can look at those. I haven't gotten that yet because I don't really care. I'm really worried about it. I haven't really needed the high beams. But yeah, what it does with the high beam, it's kind of hard to show you because it's all inside there. But there's like a little door that flaps open, and that's what that is. It's just a little, it's like, I guess it's like a little motor, but it flaps the door open and allows more light in. That's what you get your high beams from. But yeah, so if I were to power this on, you'll hear it actually clicking open and closed as power is applied and taken away. If you guys don't need the high beams, then don't worry about it. But if you do, don't mess with it. Like I said, the harness is like, I think it's like 20 bucks or something for the harness. I could be wrong last time I checked on it, but it's just a plug and play. You just plug everything in and it just works. So I would say try to do that before trying to cut wires apart and try to figure it out on your own. Make your life a little bit easier. Just buy the harness and just do it that way. So that's pretty much it. There's a good chance I probably missed something. If I did, just hit me up below. You can message me, comment, whatever. I'll get to you. But I'm just trying to think of everything, the process. Like I said, it's been probably 2.5, maybe 3 years since I did this. And I'm trying to remember the steps. But if I do forget something, or you guys start getting everything together and you're like, what the crap did you do with this? Hit me up, let me know, and I will definitely get back to you. Also, hit me up if you guys are wanting to see more stuff. I have a whole list of things that I'm going to get to with this car. I've been kind of reviewing the YouTube stuff, and you guys tend to like the videos where I show you how I do stuff with my car, not so much the driving stuff, so I'll keep doing that. I have like 15 things right now on my whiteboard that I'm going to do videos on, so just be patient with me. So again, I greatly appreciate all the, the followers, the subscribers. Please take time to smash that like button. Follow me for more videos, and as I keep getting more subscribers, I'll keep cranking the videos out. So I know it's been a few months. Again, I apologize, but I want to get back onto the regular uploads, and hopefully I can get to that point. So I actually just got a notification on my phone that I have another subscriber, so that's super cool. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and yeah, if you guys want to see something cool or see something with the car, or a lot of the stuff I've been seeing coming through on the comments are, you guys just acquiring Supras and just wanting to know what to do with them, how to work on them. I'm not an expert by any means on this car, so I don't want you guys to think like, oh, jumping through hoops, he knows exactly what he's talking about with this car. I know a lot of it because I've experienced a lot of it, but there's a lot of stuff with like the era, the age, and like what comes on what cars, like that I don't really know all that stuff. This is just stuff that I've done to my car personally, and what's worked for me and what hasn't. I spent a lot of money on stuff that's not even on this car. I spent a lot of money, it's like, oh, that didn't even work, cool, throw it in the garbage. So hopefully my personal experience can help you guys build your car into what you want it to be. I've had a lot of people hit me up that they, man, your car looks so good. I wish my car looked like yours. Dude, your car can look like mine, I promise. Like, it doesn't take that much work. I mean, it does, but if you kind of stick to it, and you enjoy it enough, you'll get there. So, but again, guys, thank you, and I will see you guys on the next one.